Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Gray, and welcome back to Myst Ryft. Today we're going to be doing something interesting that I'm going to refer to as a fast Let's Play. You guys will be hearing sped up music, and while this may be, 4 or 5 hours of footage, I'm going to somehow try and figure out how to compress it down into like 20-minute bites. So, let's go ahead and get started with this, and we'll see you guys in a bit. Alright guys, so basically this is going to be is you're going to see this sped up at 350%. So while this beginning is going to be kind of dizzying, just kind of bear with it if you can. Effectively, what this is going to be is this is all of the playthrough, which was roughly 2.5 hours of me just kind of doing general stuff. Yeah, you're going to see it here. I start off just getting some trees, basic, start to the pack. You always get trees as best you can, as fast as you can. Kind of try and pick up a few things. Overall, the 2.5 hours, I got a good basis going, but it's roughly the next 2.5 so far that actually where I started getting major things accomplished. But in this first little bit, I kind of explore the town, go with the pride and true, get a look around at what my surroundings are, and happen to spot over in this corner that there's no villagers. So I went, okay, I can make this corner my own. So that's essentially what we started doing, was started getting the leaves and ground cleared out, and I kind of find it funny. Originally I went, I need to make sure that I flatten this out, and then I dig up like half of it later. So this is kind of interesting. Go through here, don't really find much. Come in here, pick up a crafting table, end up picking up a better one later. The town's kind of interesting. It's got this weird little like castle thing in here, which, because it's cobblestone, not gonna lie, kind of makes for crappy speed recording. But hey, what can you do? But yeah, so this is an attempt at me having played all night and trying to speed it up and see what you guys think. So then there's this little bit of the village that's like, for some odd reason, just in a valley, as it were. So in here I found pattern chests, some tinker's tools, and then I didn't notice that their tinker tools, like the tool station and whatnot, actually had things in it. So I ended up having to do a little bit of back and forth here, where we're essentially just kind of bouncing back and forth to pick everything up to make sure I don't lose it later. And then from here we go and we explore this little area. Some iron boots. I don't actually ever use, I don't think. And then we go start working on the base because it's nighttime. And being that it's nighttime, we want this town to stay as safe as possible because we don't exactly know what all's here. So this is the part I was talking about where I flatten it all out. Kill a kitty cat, but I mean, hey, what can you do? And so, like, I end up filling this in, and, like, I end up knocking a lot of it back out later, to actually build the house, which I would, I mean, that's typical, So, first question I guess I should ask, though, is, if you guys end up liking this, please leave a like or a comment below and let me know if this is something you guys want to see more of. I've got another day worth of recording, that I don't mind, taking the time to actually edit this all out, but I have to know that it's actually something people want to see. You can just kind of see I'm emptying my inventory here, because it takes a little bit of time to get this all to render properly. Like, to get it to render this, I took roughly about 2.5 hours on this old computer. So yeah, it takes time. See, here's the part I was talking about where I knocked everything out, and it's like, oh, did I really? And at this point in time, it's kind of the basics of Minecraft. Get started, repair your tools, just kind of get your stuff going, through the basics. Build a crafting table, get a chest, start, stacking up everything you need to. And this is my base building. I know it's horrible, I'm sorry, I only know one style of base building. To do this little trick here, just hold shift and look down. You'll place 2 blocks below you, while standing on the top part of the block. And it'll help you in the long run. And I also made a nice little door here. Good old door. And you just kind of start filling in your roof so that you've got a roofed-in structure. Because in this mod pack, there are things that do attack from the sky. Some of our players recently found that out when they got attacked by bees. They got attacked by bees, and they also got attacked by some wisps. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm actually unlocking Ars Magica. The less Ethereum you have, the longer that takes to actually create a book. And then I decided to mark our house with a sheep. I don't know. I really don't know why I decided to do that, to be honest. I just randomly did. So I can come over here and knock out some of the cobblestone. But yeah, so our house is marked by a sheep. And these guys here, they're going to hate us here in a little bit. Because I made a mistake. Right here, I'm trying to figure out why I can't sleep. So because I can't sleep, I decided screw it. Now I can sleep. See? But so we made a furnace to start smelting logs. You can smelt logs into charcoal, which are super helpful. And smelting logs into charcoal effectively makes it to where you don't have to necessarily find coal. And coal in this mod pack can be a bit of a pain. And I say that loosely. Getting coal in this mod pack, which by the way, for double trees, hold a teal day, and you'll mine out the entire tree. But coal is above flint level, so you have to get above flint to be able to mine out coal, which kind of sucks, but at the same time, it makes sense in its own little way. So come in here, take some more of the logs, throw them in there, take out some of the charcoal, make more torches. Have a puppy whine at you in the background. Hi puppy, why are we whining? Eat an apple. Now that's another thing with foods. What you want to try and make sure you do is eat the base form first. You don't want to necessarily cook everything up to, say, gourmet delicacy level, and then suddenly you can't eat that food anymore. It's annoying, but it is a thing. And then I derp so hard right here. Like, you can see very clearly on the map where my house is, and then, like, I just didn't look at it. I didn't look at it at all, and so then I ended up mining a little bit into the wall. It comes in handy later, but for right now, it's kind of useless. Right now, we're working on getting a sieve, though. I feel like I have to talk really fast while watching this. That is really weird, because, like, my brain is like, you've got to talk fast! And here I'm hunting for a worm that dropped down. This whole thing did have audio, but I turned it off because I was listening to copyrighted music, and at this point in time, you know, I'm trying to avoid copyright strikes on the channel, so, if you guys would rather see this kind of stuff live streamed, I mean, we could live stream it, and then you guys would be able to listen to the music I'm listening to. Just fair warning, though, that, you know, usually when I live stream, I have a person that enjoys me, like, hearing my voice. They fall asleep to it really well. So you might hear snoring, you might hear random scratchy noises, but I mean, that's a thing that would come with the principle of live streaming. But so right here, what we're trying to do is we're trying to eventually start a silk farm. We're also trying to pick up clay. Now these trees right here, they grow in a 4x4. You do have to hold a teal day to get them, but your lumber axe will do just fine to pick them up. So we're about 10 minutes into this section, which is, not gonna lie, a little intimidating, considering I know it goes on for about 30 minutes. So, yeah. So right here, just kind of emptying out your inventory again, checking Ars Magica books. So you can see right there, it wasn't grayed out. Here in a bit, it's going to be grayed out, and I don't know what I changed between now and then. But yeah, so here we're going to go grab some more gravel. We're going to come in here with the gravel, and we're going to start making some base things like barrels, because I didn't have an easy water source just yet, so it was like, I'll take out some barrels and we'll use them later, because right now we're working on getting the foundry up and going. smeltery, as you guys probably know it. I call them a foundry because 90% of the time I build an entire building around it. So here I'm checking my trees, realizing that I can knock a few pieces off of this one after I checked it a few times. See, and I go around and I check the tree, and once they're completely white like that, you can hit them with a crook. However, in our mod pack, don't... See, you can see I just lost one right there. Don't knock them off, like split where they're at, because the minute they're no longer touching a log or are not connected to a leaf that's touching a log, they instantly evaporate. So right here, I'm gonna do an experiment, and let's just say the experiment was a success, but I was stupid for doing this experiment. What I'm attempting to do is make a hill of string. Said hill of string will be really useful way, way later on, but I thought it was a bright idea to do it now. Save myself time, right? I end up kind of screwing myself over here. But yeah, so like right here, there was a really, really loud like scratching noise that happened. So that's another reason you guys are not hearing in-game noises, because between Autumn and the other person's mic, like there are so many issues. But so what we're going to do here is we're going to start by sieving out gravel. That looks really cool sped up like this. Actually, it looks like it doesn't take a whole lot of time. Effectively, sieving is it's pretty bad. You can see I start to dance to my music because I'm just kind of getting bored. Because unfortunately, this is something you kind of have to do. And for those of you who will be playing the mod pack, I suggest if you have any kind of a gaming keyboard, legitimately if you have a gaming keyboard, take some time and map one of your, extra keys. Map it to an auto button. It will help so much because there's so much sieving you have to do early game to get stuff set up that you'll thank me later for it. Like even the wife, she has a basic keyboard, and I wish I could get her a gaming keyboard because I see how much sieving she does or is going to have to do, and I wish she didn't have to do it like in the manner she has to. But it's there to save you time, because effectively some of these materials like lapis and Ventium dust, like they're really key to large portions of the mod pack. However, they're also really hard to come by. Redstone's another one that it's kind of rare, but at the same time it's not too bad. Now that being said, I'm kind of running out of things to talk about because essentially we sieve here for quite a while. And I know that sounds great and all, but really we do. We sieve quite a lot. At this point in time, I start dancing to the music again. But that being said, it's you're sieving for the materials that you'll need later. And essentially you're going to eventually get to where you need these materials. And right there I'm bookmarking my house because I'm thinking about going exploring after this. And which is always a good idea. Like, it's always a good idea to have a bookmark to your house. Which you can see I start setting up chests to essentially be my guideposts. Because here I'm going to make a crucible, which you need porcelain clay and you need 7 of it. So in needing 7 of it, effectively you're going to then fire that crucible, which then, because I make a mistake here later, we end up getting some hardened clay because I'm like, oh hey, clay bricks, you just smelt clay. Nope, that gets you hardened clay. You have to smelt the little bricks, or the little balls. So I mean, it makes it look prettier. And so here's my little experiment starting. So I'm gonna grow this tree out here, and you can see it's starting to infect the rest of the trees. So here we're starting to make the smeltery stuff. I always start by making the specialty blocks for say, like the thing that makes blocks, the flat one. I can't think of names right now while I'm trying to do this on the spot. Yay, trying to do it on the spot. Here I realized that my tool was actually broken. But then I found out later it didn't really matter if it was broken or not, because what I tried to do was do the tilde trick of mining, and it doesn't work on sand that's just been placed or that's been naturally spawned in on the ground. And apparently the wife is dying to something in the background. Care to chime in about what you're dying to?
Ghast, falling, and a horde of wisps.
Awesome. You don't have much that you could lose in the nether, right? Why'd you take stuff that you can't
I know. I had my tools, but it's more that I had gained a lot of stuff.
Oh, okay. Well, and so here we're going to start sieving some dirt. We'll need this dirt effectively to get seeds that we won't normally have access to this early on. Such as we're going to get things like geishel greens, normal seeds. We're going to get sugarcane. We're going to get grass seeds. These are all things that essentially you'll need, but aren't like 100% crucial to your advancement. They'll help. For instance, the geishel greens combined with sugar, they act as pickles, and they'll make great food for you. They don't make great food for long, but they do make great food. So that's what we're doing here, and eventually I get smart and actually go plant the sugar cane that I got. It's those brown little seeds you see there, the really big, thick, circular ones. But unfortunately for me, I didn't plant it soon enough. But we end up making a Pam's Harvest Craft tool later on called a presser. Apparently right now there's a blizzard issue. Just for reference, this gameplay footage was recorded at 5 o'clock in the morning, I believe. Somewhere between 5 and 6, and it is now 11 a.m. When I'm trying to do this voiceover. So I'm a little tired, so sorry if there's some dead air. I'll try and add in music to the spots where there's just like really dead air. Or maybe I'll add music over the top. I don't know. Haven't really figured that out yet. So effectively what I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be starting to map out where I want my foundry, smeltery. And then right here I'm putting some cobble in the crucible to actually get it ready to go. And the first thing you ought to always do is smelt up a bit of iron, or not iron, but gold, to make casts and make an ingot cast, because ingot casts they're useful to say the least, because you can really cast any mixed metals you make, which will be really helpful. But I actually do something kind of stupid here. I actually do the iron first, thinking I need the bucket, which you do need a bucket. I did this in the wrong order. So, yay, doing things in improper orders. So we get a we get a bucket, come to our crucible, put the lava onto the crucible so that it smelts faster, and then from there it's kind of off to the races. You're just kind of pressing for time as quickly as you can, because basically you just want time to pass. Here we're going to check on our little experiment, which appears to be working. And it started raining. I was like, nope, time to sleep, because when it rains in this mod pack, you're lucky if you don't die, kind of thing. So then I start trying to measure out a cobblestone generator and realize that I messed up measurements. So come out here, get a bucket of water, start making a infinite water source, because you always got to have at least one infinite water source near you. Just really for most things you want to do. I'm seeing, and I realized, oh, oops, that's gonna go there. So I build it over, and then I'm like, oh wait, crap, this is gonna change things here. So then you can just kind of sit here, and while I'm waiting on the iron to smelt, I suddenly realized I had made a mistake right about here, if I remember right. I suddenly realized, wait a minute, I need to make an ingot cast before I make iron. So I grabbed some gold and some gold powder, and don't quite have enough normal gold, so we make it out of the gold sand. And then dig this up. Because the ingot cast is really the first thing you need to smelt. Because the thing is, the ingot cast you will use more than anything else. Also, if you double tap a cast like that before the ingot has disappeared, it'll end up using two of the whatever the thing is. So you can actually end up hurting yourself quite a lot right there. Alright, we've reached about the 20-minute mark, so brain's starting to get a little derpy. But so right now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making an item interaction node, which is great. They are transfer nodes for items, which effectively, if you get all the things you need for it, will make your life really, really, really easy. But once again, if you're lazy, this will take a long time. Like, this will take quite a long time, because you will have to sieve a lot of stuff. But if you've got the materials to spare, this can go really quickly. But if you don't, like I didn't, because I just started into this world, and you can see this is just my first, set of playthroughs, you're going to have to sieve, and do a lot of sieving. So what I do here is I go and I empty out my inventory and realize I don't have quite enough space. So I grab some wood. If I remember right, I grabbed wood and then made chests. I don't remember what I'm looking for here. I'll be honest, I really don't remember what I was looking for there. So right here, I'm just smelting out the ingots really quickly. That does take a little bit of time, but it's useful to know exactly where the stuff's at. So if you ever need it. And here I get the bright idea, hey, I'll just smelt stone in the furnace, and I'll get smeltery bricks, and not the case. Don't waste your time, kids. It does not work like that as much as you want it to. It does not. So right here I'm getting ready to start doing more sieving, which, again, sieving does take up a lot of your time in this mod pack if you don't go through the process I'm going to go through here after a little while. Once I have the cobblestone generator, basically the transfer node with the world interaction, this is me sieving to get like the redstone and such that I'm going to need to make that. Once you have that up and going, you can set a chest on top of it and get infinite cobblestone. Well, you can also use that with transfer pipes. You can use that with transfer pipes to be able to fill your crucibles automatically, which is great whenever you have a ton of crucibles. I used to think that you needed a hopper to make it work. Well, as of the last update for all the mods in this, you no longer need the hopper. You just need the crucible and the transfer node to attach to it. So it's way easier than it used to be. It used to be really, really complex and really annoying, to be honest, to be able to get everything you needed. But that being said, right here is just a long section of sieving, because I don't know if you guys saw how many stacks I picked up. Right here I literally I have music playing, and then it's just me sieving for like 6 stacks. And right here is not I'm a little ashamed to say that I literally had something set on my button for right click, and had walked away to go let the dog outside because the dog needed to go to the bathroom. So, and she wouldn't quit whining at me, so I had to go let her outside. So I'll come back pretty quickly here, but we did go downstairs for a little bit. See, and now I'm back. I'm like, oh, oops. Gonna have to explain that one. So originally I was planning on for this to be done at 500%, but it was so dizzying, so rough. I may try the next one on 500% with over commentary, because the next one I don't move around as much. But at 300%, at least you can kind of tell what's going on. At 500%, like, sometimes there are things just whizzing past your face that it's nigh impossible to tell exactly what's going on. But, so right now, we still got about 10 more minutes of this or so. Just curious what you guys think of this. You know, what are you guys thinking of this sped up Let's Play? Because effectively, when I play Minecraft, I play for very long periods of time. Like, I play for, you know, hours on hours on hours, and, you know, I could do 10-minute episodes, 15-minute episodes. What's a good, you know, one, what's a good speed range, and two, what's a good time frame if you guys are liking Minecraft? Because I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying getting back into the swing of our Myst Ryft packs, and I kind of want to get deeper into it, but at the same time, I don't want to try and make a full series of it if people aren't liking it. You know, it's I don't want to invest time, because it takes time to get these to speed up and to get it to render down. And that's time I can't use my computer because I've got a crappy old computer, to be honest. It's an i3 with a slapped-in GTX 970 that, unfortunately, Best Buy lied to me and told me it was their best card, and then I found out the guy just didn't know what the hell he was talking about. So when I was investing, like, I had $500 that I was going to invest into a good graphics card. And he's like, oh yeah, this is the best one we have, this is the best one we have. Turns out, he just didn't know what he was talking about. And, so said graphics card was actually, like, their lowest tier of graphics card. I mean, it does what I need it to do, but it's more, right now, it's the CPU that's throttling us. So, right now, we're just going to be sieving. That's kind of the early game is really about what you do. And you can imagine how long this actually took, because it's just, you're literally just sitting here sieving over and over and over. And then you have to go and figure out what metals do you actually have. Like, and if you don't have a decent sorting system, that can be a problem. And I mean that legitimately. That can be a very long problem. Because essentially, if you're unorganized like me, you can get ores everywhere. And then you're like, oh, I thought I had enough for 10 ingots, and turns out I only have enough for 2. That's strange, and that happens a few times in this little section of gameplay. But yeah, so right now, again, you can just see we're just going through stacks after stack, which a cool note I found. You can actually do... sorry. You can actually do this sieving, and if it's on your first item, and you know you're going to have tons of stacks, when you get down to like 2 items left of it, hit R, and it will refill it. It'll refill it because it sorts your inventory. I thought you could only do that with your inventory open, but it turns out you can actually do it at any point in time you want. So all you have to do is just hit R, and it instantly will throw it back into it for you. So we're down to, I think, the last stack here that we do at this point in time. I do another one later, because my original intention was to cut all this out, but since we're doing it 350 times, I was trying to cut it out, and Adobe, for some odd reason, when I go to try and clip something that's sped up, tries to clip a large section. I don't know why. I may be doing something wrong, but it tries to split off a large section, and it kept skipping sections where we start actually smelting stuff down. And I'm probably doing something wrong. I'm still very new to Adobe Premiere, but thank you, Adobe, for giving me a student's pass to be able to use the Adobe Cloud, because that's now what we're doing is Adobe Premiere Pro CC 2017. Back in the day, I used to use CS3. CS3 is what I used to use, but that was mainly for Dreamweaver and programming things. So right now we're going to be making the transfer pipes, because you have to make transfer pipes first. Once you have transfer pipes, it's actually really simple. You just do chest in the bottom, transfer pipe, redstone block, a little bit of redstone, and a few other things. And it's really simple. Another cool thing you can do is if you have a ton of wood, like, and I do mean legitimately a ton of wood. You can use a yeah, see, here's right here. I'm trying to figure out. It's like, oh, this would be really cool, and then I realize it's not useful. I check it here, and it's like, it's not useful in the least bit. So yeah, don't bother smelting seared stone unless you like the black look of stone. And I mean, it doesn't look bad. It's just, it's not my taste. But yeah, so like right here, I thought I had to have a few things, and then I realized, oh, I don't need those just yet. Later on, like way later today, or during this Let's Play. But, so right here, we're just kind of waiting on the smeltery to smelt up the iron. And then it's nighttime, and again, I said I wanted to keep this town as safe as possible, so I want to sleep every time I get a chance. Because effectively, it speeds up time by a few ticks, from what I can tell, or could be that I didn't understand exactly what I was trying to do. That's always possible. So now I've got my item interaction node doodad. So what this is going to do is you're going to see I pop it in there, and I should check it a few more times if I remember right. Yeah, and right here you can actually watch how many ingots are being used, so that you can actually count them. But if I remember, I think I miscalculate here. But yeah, if you have a whole bunch of logs though, you can make chests really simply. So yeah, I used to think this is how you had to do it, and so then like what would happen is, as that chest fills up, eventually it'll fill up the hopper, and then once it fills up the hopper autofills the crucible, which is great up until the point wherein I realized right here I was getting ready to make a water node, an auto water node, and realized I don't have the thing needed for it. So then I started, yeah, right here I check for lapis lazuli, which is what you need for liquid transfer node, and I don't have it. So once again, just back to more sieving here in a bit, but right now I believe, yeah, I go and calculate out how much I have, slap in my ingots. So this is effectively kind of what you do to get started. And to any of my players who may end up seeing this, hopefully you guys, you'll find this Let's Play a little bit helpful. Well, I know it's lengthy. Hopefully at least it'll help you guys get a better understanding of some of the deeper things you can do. And if you need to, remember, you can always right-click on the video. May want to turn off the audio, though, because the audio will sound really warbled. But this will hopefully give you guys an idea of some of the things that you can do with the mod pack, which I found a tower, and I was all happy, because we call them churches. And then the church, it didn't have anything. I was so sad. It legitimately didn't have the one thing I was hoping to find. I was hoping to find an early Thaumnomicon, just to kind of figure out how to get started with that, because I thought that might be kind of cool. But so right here I'm going and gathering up gravel, which is how you get lapis, and then just again back to sieving. So that's kind of where really the problem is when you start sieving everything, it eventually gets to where this is a lot of what you do. I mean, I can't even, I really want to like sugarcoat it and be like, no, you don't have to do this a lot, but no, you really do. Like, if you really want to do everything in this, like for instance what I'm getting ready to try and do here, it can take a while. Now what I'm doing here is actually a cool trick I found out. If you take a liquid transfer node, put a world interaction on it, you can then set a barrel on it, which, since we had a ton of dust, I wanted clay. So I come over and I grab the dust, and then I go and stand up here, and then I realize, oh hey, you guys can't see what's going on. So if you right-click the dust into a barrel with water, it gives you clay. Well, if you just sit and spam right-click, you can make a ton of clay. And then I realized, like, oh hey, I don't need these barrels anymore because I now have infinite water, so no point in having something sitting out there that you don't need. Now I gotta make a whole bunch of crooks because it's time to go check on the experiment. And the experiment was a complete success, but dear God, was it not necessary. Like, I thought this would be a great idea, and then now looking back on it, realizing how little of the string I need right now, it was almost a huge waste of time. Because you can't auto-crook these. Like, you can't do mass crooking. As much as I want to say you can, you just can't. It won't let you. And also, if you guys want to be able to use your lumber axe to get these down quicker, go from the bottom of the tree, not from the top. But note that doing the auto-crooking, or the using fast decay, it will not drop the string. I tested that a couple of times here, and you can see I'm going to do it one more time, and I'm like, okay, did it drop any string? I don't know. Maybe. I don't think it did. And then so now I go have to climb to the top to go start crooking, and I crook from the top all the way down to the bottom. You get a ton of string this way, which is great, but I don't need all this string just yet. I'll need it later. Once we start getting into Ars Magica and start needing the modifiers, there are a few modifiers that require string. And to be honest, I just wasted a lot of time doing this little experiment, because honestly, once you get to that point in Ars Magica, there are way better ways to get string. Like, legitimately way better ways. So I don't recommend doing this unless you're really just... You really got nothing else to do. If you got nothing else to do and you're waiting on something, like, let's say, for instance, you're waiting on the laundry to get done, and you know you're going to have an hour that you have to spare that you're just going to want something to do, this will be a great way to do it, because you're going to spend a lot of time. Like, this, I believe this whole section took me 20 minutes to crook down this entire tree. You can see here I even have to go and rest, and I believe a Minecraft day is I believe that a Minecraft day is 20 minutes. I'm not for sure. But so, like, right here, I finally got fed up, and I was like, I've got enough string. I don't need this. I'm not going to need all this string just yet. So I start lumber axing out the bottom, which you can see it doesn't drop any string. Which, you know, I mean, if you're really, really, really wanting the string, just take your crooks to it. But if you're not needing string, just take the lumber axe. And, you know, you have to keep it repaired, obviously, but it'll be worth it more to you to just knock the trees out. Knock out the bottom trees. Let fast decay to get rid of something like this if you accidentally ever have this happen. I always suggest make sure your trees are isolated before you do this. Because if they're not, you will end up in a world of hurt. And what do I mean by that? If you're playing on a server, say goodbye to all of your trees. They are officially now cobweb machines. If someone were to place this on, like, say, a forest, they will be infinite cobweb machines, because that's essentially what you've just created. Now, that being said, though, if you're on single player, you're going to lag a lot, because it does actively track how far along the trees are and things like that. So probably something you want to try and avoid if you can. So here I'm checking my metals. Hey, puppy. What you doing? Kind of walking around being a nuisance, like you always are. Desi, alright? Okay. Hungry? Okay. So, essentially right here what I'm doing is I'm walking around and I'm kind of starting to get the basis of the pulverizer. Or not the pulverizer, of the lava generator. So there's the lava generator, which, thinking on it, I'm glad I decided to change my patterning that I originally had for it. Because originally I was just going to stick it like right next to that lava container, and then I realized, hey, if I actually move this sideways a little bit, I can actually just pipe the lava to it, and it won't be as in the way. So, and so what you do is you just pipe to it, and see, and you can even pipe over to here. So as it's filling up, this thing will get lava, and so will the smeltery. However, the smeltery, keep in mind, it's going to eat all the lava. it's going to eat the lava quicker than your lava generator can. So once your smelter is full, break the line to it. Like, legitimately break the line to it, because you will eventually get to where you're just out. You're completely out of lava, because it'll eat it so fast, because it has lava decay. So I need to get 10 now, because I'm gonna have to start making gears, and so that's kind of what I was showing there, is that I'm going to have to make gears, which I had actually forgotten there is a gear cast, so you can actually save yourself time by making gear casts. So, good Gesundheit, I think.
I think I sounded like a gas there.
No, you sound like somebody dying, to be honest. Yeah, so that's the wife in the background, by the way. So here I realized I measured out my copper wrong, and so I'm having to correct the mistake. Yeah, and while this piping system may look really complex, it's super simple to do, because the pipes don't necessarily have to make sense. They just have to connect. That's all they have to do, is just connect. So, but in knowing that, I ended up making a few extra hoppers later on that I didn't know that I later learned I didn't need. So right here I'm just making a few extra crucibles to get more lava going, and I'm starting to make the gears, because we're going to make a machine block, and to make a machine block you're going to need gears. The 10 gear is super simple, just iron ingot surrounded by top, bottom, left, and right by 10, and that one's super simple. Yeah, and right here's where I found out. I was like, huh, okay, so I don't necessarily need this to do this. It just does it naturally. Great. And I realized that's going to save me time, so I started trying to make my pipes look a little prettier and not waste as much, because that's one thing I found out. I have a tendency to have really overly complex pipe systems, and by doing that, it's right here I'm testing a theory to see if it'll pull lava or without it, and no, it doesn't. So you have to attach it to the side of it to pull lava. And those other pipes that I actually have laid out are completely useless, by the way. Don't bother doing that with your pipes. They actually make no sense. So we're about to the end of this Let's Play, though. I know it's been a little bit long, but show you guys the pulverizer, and then we'll go ahead and stop the Let's Play. It's fairly simple. Copper gears, the little conductor, and then 2 of those, and the piston. So once you have that, the next thing you need to do is make some chests, which that's the log thing there that I was talking about. So then you're going to take a hopper. And the reason you want the hopper instead of just setting the chest on top of it is you're actually going to create what's known as an infinite system. So right here, it's going to auto kick out things, and it'll kick it out into that chest. Well, if you do things correctly, you can actually have an entire chest of cobble go from cobble all the way down to dust. But you kind of have to lay things out perfectly, and it's a little tricky to get it to work early. So what you'll have to do is you'll have to make some chests, and then you again follow the same item transfer node doodads. Sleep to make it day, And you're going to come out here, and as long as you lay it out in that pattern, and have a little bit of patience before you set up the item transfer node on the top, as long as you have a little bit of patience before you set that up, it actually will auto-regulate itself. You can actually have it set up to where it'll automatically sieve things the correct, or not sieve, but sort things the correct way, so that it will infinitely stay to where it's filling up with whatever the material it should be pulverizing. So you'll want to, like I show there, you'll want to have 4 cobble and then 1 gravel, and then you'll want to have the top chest completely full with cobblestone and maybe a few extra pieces in the bottom chest. Because what that'll do is that'll make it to where it'll auto sort through. And it's really simple. And here I'm trying to figure out how to make a an auto sieve. I don't think I ever get it done. I haven't gotten it done because I don't have it done in the next episode. So, but that's about all there is to say. And from here, it's just kind of me trying to look at ingots and what kind of different combinations can I make. Like right here, I'm making Invar, which Invar is great, but it's kind of useless at the same time. Because as a mining tool, it's like only iron level, and as a shovel, it's not even that good. It adds durability, but that's about it. So, and here I'm looking at the augmentations that you can do for the pulverizer to see, are they actually worth it, and how hard are they to make? And they're actually fairly complex, all things considered. Not something I would recommend most people try and do, because they amplify the amount of power you need to even run the machine. While it does make them faster, not worth it. So, see you guys in the next one. Later.